The Sony a7 IV in 2025. An incredible camera that I've been using for the last couple of years. And today let's go over how good the Sony a7 IV still is in 2025. So the a7 IV that you're watching from right now has been my go-to camera for all the videos on all of my channels, no matter if it's a talking head like this or a travel cinematic style of a video, a review of a phone or a drone. No matter the video, it has been all filmed on the Sony a7 IV for the last couple of years. And it's an incredible camera for any style of YouTube videos or even more professional productions. So really quickly, just going over the specs of the camera. It is a 33 megapixel camera sensor, which is a full frame camera sensor. It's incredible in terms of bokeh, so the background blur and the background, in terms of low light performance, and overall the 33 megapixel allow you for a little bit of cropping in the photos in post-production. Overall, for a hybrid camera, as the Sony a7 IV is incredible. It's a nice sweet spot between a nice photo camera, but also a nice for video camera. And I feel like the Sony a7 line is specifically a hybrid shooter. You have the R line for the photos, the S line for the video performance, but the hybrids are, in my opinion, the best for YouTube creators. They're the best of both worlds. And while we can shoot photos in 33 megapixels and have really nice high dynamic range in post-production, we can also shoot in up to 4K 60 frames per second. While it is a little bit of a crop in the 4K 60 frames per second mode, and mostly on my adventures, I actually shoot in 1080p 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second if I'm doing a talking segment like this. Overall, I almost always shoot in 1080p. That can be going from 30 frames per second for talking head, 60 frames per second for any B-roll kind of a shot where I'm showing the landscapes or the cinematics, and maybe I want to slow something up at 50%. Or I'm shooting in 120 frames per second in Full HD to have that nice crispy cinematic slow motion. But if you wanted to, you can shoot in 4K 30 frames per second or in 4K 60 frames per second with a slight crop. Overall, for many, this might be one of the best cameras you can get on the market right now. And now that it's been a couple of years old, it is slightly cheaper than it was originally, making it more accessible and also just a better option for many other creators. It has an incredible dynamic range. I usually shoot with the HLG3 or 2, depending on the situation and my camera settings, in the picture profile 10. But overall, it has been an incredible camera for color grading, making cinematic vlogs, and overall content creation. The autofocus, as you can see throughout the video, no matter how it is, it's super fast and reliable. Even when really quickly I wanted to show something up close, I know that it's reliable and I can actually count on it. So as you can see, it's gonna focus right away on it and back to me, no matter the situation. So the autofocus is incredible on the Sony a7 IV. Most of my shooting is actually taken on the Tamron 28-75, which is an incredible camera lens to pair with the Sony a7 line. I get 99% of my work, no matter if it's travel videos, if it's a talking head like this, cinematics, B-roll, camera reviews, phone reviews, anything I do, 99% of the video has been filmed on the Tamron 28-75 f2.8. It is an incredible piece of lens for the Sony a7 line. It has a nice close focusing, so I can really do a close-up of something and still having it in focus, but also you can actually do from 28 all the way to a 75, and with this Sony magic button you can actually crop it a little bit up to around 105 millimeters. So it's a really nice focal length for majority of shots, and because it's at f2.1, it's nice in low light, it's nice for background blur, and overall characteristics of it are incredible for a lens at this price range. And this brings me to another point, which is the accessories and the lens selection for the a7 IV. You have plenty of accessories for it. Now that it's been on the market for a little bit longer, you have more accessories for it, more different parts that you can get for it, different microphones, batteries, camera grips, straps, everything you might think about. And because it's a Sony E lens mount, you can actually have a huge library of different lenses from even older Sony a7 line cameras, because it's all the same mount. And the mount overall has so many different lenses. We have the Sony Zeiss, we have the Viltrox, we have the Tamron, we have the Samyang, and also we have the Sigma. plenty of options to choose from. So there's so many different brands and overall options to choose from for many different price ranges. So it's really cool, and we really have that option and really play around with the different lenses. One thing that I really loved about the a7 IV comparing to the a7 III that I had before it is this screen that I have on the side where I can see myself when vlogging. The a7 III, while it was fantastic at the time, it didn't have the flip out LCD, and meaning that a lot of YouTube content creators had to kind of second guess if they're in the frame, if everything is good. But now with the articulating screen, it's perfect for vlogging or even talking head like this if you don't have a separate monitor. Overall, it just makes the usage much better, and it was one of the things that I really wish the a7 III had. Coming back to the camera itself, while shooting with the camera, you can also shoot with 10-bit in video department, meaning that it's much better for color grading in post-production. Instead of having the 8-bit, you now can shoot in 10-bit. All of the footage that I shoot in is, while it is on the full HD setting, just don't need that huge files of the 4K, but the 10-bit is something that I have on all the modes where it's available. It just lets me color grade my footage much more heavily without having any problems in terms of color bending and color problems overall in the shot, and just makes color grading a much more viable option on the Sony a7 IV. And I'm not saying the 8-bit is uncolor gradable, I'm just saying that 10-bit is much better for that. Overall, in 2025, I still feel like there is no need for a new camera. I just feel like with the Sony a7 IV, in 2025, I still don't feel the need for any new camera. I just feel like it holds up so nicely. And I feel like we're at this point where it's gonna be hard to make cameras that are gonna be much better and much more efficient, much more needed than we already have. You see, with the a7 III to a7 IV, even that wasn't a huge difference. But it did add the screen, it did add the 10-bit, but now that we have it, yes, you can get 8K, you can get 4K 60 frames per second without the crop, but is it something that you're really gonna need? I just feel like this camera takes off so many boxes that it's gonna be hard to really make a product that is gonna be needed for many creators. So if you already have the a7 IV and you're thinking about selling it, getting something else, think about it again, because this might be everything you need. And if you're thinking about the Sony a7 IV, I can highly recommend you that camera, unless you have a better option at a better price. But if you can get an a7 IV at a nice price, I would definitely recommend it. If you want to see more how this camera works and how good the footage can be, check out the channel in the top right corner of the screen right now. That is my travel channel where I make travel videos, and you can see how this camera performs in a real world situation out and about. If you have any more questions about the Sony a7 IV, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, that is gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.